everybody. I'm going to make sure we are good to go. I'm just double checking on my end. So say hello in the chat. Give me a thumbs up emoji if we're all clear, can hear me. I just told Andrew I am working on a brand new computer today. So here's hoping everything looks great on the new computer. And I'm just making sure we're all set up before we get in. I'm going to be talking about how to set up your channel for success. And predominantly, I'm going to be talking a lot about content planning, what that system looks like, how to come up with those ideas, because obviously the best way to make your channel successful is if you're creating really good content. So before we dive in, I would love to hear from you guys. Do you have a system or a workflow for creating content right now? Are you just kind of like picking a video out of the top of your head and filming it, editing it, and getting it up last minute? Let me know where you're at. Are you a planner or are you more of a fly by the seat of your pants creator? Hello home, welcome home mom. Hello Epic Gameplays. Rob, hello. So my name is Trena Little. If you haven't watched a live stream here, I've been live streaming on here for a couple years now. I predominantly help female business owners get started on YouTube. They usually already have a business model created and they're ready to use YouTube as an organic growth tactic. I also have a program that helps people DIY their YouTube strategy as well. So my zone of genius is kind of YouTube. So that's why it makes sense for me to be here on TubeBuddy. Specifically today, like I said, we're going to be talking about content creating and how to pick the right content to set up your channel for success. I plan, but not around keywords or local guides vlog, just on topics of interest. Last minute always, epic gameplay. Welcome home mom, trying to be a planner now. Aloha from Massachusetts. Hello, David. Hi, Corella. Okay, so many great people in here. So I wanted to just kind of walk through how I plan content. And just to be completely upfront here, I am a mom of two children, a 4 and a 5-year-old who finally get to go to grandma's house today. We've been snowed in for 3 days. So mommy finally has some time to work. But knowing I have 2 kids and then I also have clients, I've got to be very strategic about the content that I create so that A, it gets seen by the right people, and B, for me, it needs to convert into my business. I also need to be planning content around a time that I can actually shoot video content. And normally, Wednesdays are the only day I can film video content. Otherwise, a kid's busting in the door, you're going to hear kids screaming downstairs. I have to take care of my children, feed them. And so for me, having a system in place to create content is the key, is the only way I am posting consistently on YouTube. And more recently, this past month, in January, I started upping my content to 2 videos a week. It's been a lot, but we created this system we've been using it for the past year now, where I've been able to crank out 1 video a week, and now we're up to 2. So I'm going to share some more about that with you guys as well. So if you got any kind of content creation or content workflow type questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be opening up to Q&A as soon as I walk you through everything I want to show you here today. And have an open dialogue with you because I love answering questions and I love talking about content planning and organizing and researching. So real quick, I do see that they pinned the Video Reframe Summit I am hosting at the end of this month. If you want to learn more about video and getting better on video and using video in your business, grab a free ticket to that summit. It's 100% free. Rob is speaking at the conference as well. We have people talking about camera confidence. We have people talking about storytelling on videos. Rob's talking about generating video ideas. We also have topics on using YouTube to grow a business, using video and social media, so many different topics around video. There are going to be 13 expert speakers over 3 days, absolutely free. They did pin that to trenalittle.com/video reframe. Get that. Also, if you grab that ticket, you can get into a free Facebook group where we are doing giveaways every single day, the whole month of February. So just a little quick promo there as we jump into how to plan the right type of content to make sure your channel is set up for success. And the very first thing that you need to understand is who you are speaking to. Now, a lot of the times when we think about who we are speaking to, we think demographics. So we're thinking maybe female, ages 25 to 36, living in the United States, making $50,000 a month, right? Those are all demographics. But when you want to create the content that really hits your ideal viewer on the head, the content that helps you create like this loyal tribe, this loyal following, this loyal community, you want to think a little bit deeper and think about the psychographics. So think about the problems that they are having. Think about how they think, right? What can you do to help them? You got to get on a deeper level. So in my example from my business, I know I'm speaking to women business owners who either have imposter syndrome because as a female, we kind of get a little pushback as, are we authority enough? Are we good enough? Do we have the best hair and makeup? Do we look good on camera? And so when I'm thinking about creating content, I'm thinking about the things that person has in their head, those psychographics specifically. So I want you to think about whether you're a gaming channel, whether you're an education channel, whether you're a family vlog channel. This all fits into really understanding who you're talking to, because if you don't understand how that person ticks, so to speak, your content's not going to really connect with them. And the channels that you see grow fast and get really big, while there is a key to understanding SEO and researching your content, what they're also doing is creating content that connects with their audience. And they're really digging into understanding what they need to do to understand their audience. So I just want to make you think. I just want you to think about that, because the problem that I see so many people do is they want to create content for the masses because they want this massive YouTube channel, and that can happen. But at the very beginning, you really need to focus in on your core audience, your niche. Like people say all the time, a lot of the times niching down isn't a sexy word, so to speak, and we get kind of confused and overwhelmed about that. But when it comes to niching, you really just want to think about, who are you speaking to? Who ideally do you want to create a community with? Who are the people you really want watching your content? So that's the very first thing you need to think about when you want to make sure you set up your channel for success. Your channel needs to make sure it's speaking to a specific person and you understand the way they think. The next thing that you need to do, don't worry, I got all my notes written down here so that I don't miss anything. You want to also sprinkle in some touch points about you. You need people to connect with you. You need them to know, like, and trust you. And for example, for me, for so long, I come from a background in business. I have a master's in business where it's very professional, button up. And it was very hard for me to open up and share more personal stories, share a little bit more about my life, share more mistakes. But I wasn't able to connect with my audience because they didn't feel like they knew me. They would show up to my channel, they would get my how-to type information and then peace out, right? They got what they needed, they didn't make a connection, and they didn't subscribe. They didn't come back for more, unless obviously I popped up in search again. They would watch it, get the information, and leave. So when you're creating content, not only are you thinking about the psychographics of your audience, you also want to think about how you can share more of yourself. So that they can have that connection with you, right? It needs to feel like you are literally talking to a friend at a coffee shop, back when we could do that, but it needs to feel relatable. So some things that I have been doing in my content is I pick about 3 to 4 things that I want people to know me for. Obviously, being a mom is one of them. The second thing that I like to connect with my audience with is around Bravo. So it is a television channel here in the States where it's basically mindless reality TV. And for me, mommy's zen time is watching some Real Housewives. So I will drop that in anytime I can drop in like a GIF or a quote or relate to, okay, I need my Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey ice cream and just an hour of Real Housewives of New York to kind of zen out. So for me to share that with my audience and drop that in the type of content that I'm creating, whether it is YouTube content, Instagram content, stories, that makes that connection with that person. That makes them wanting to come back and hear more from me, wanting to learn more from me, making a community around me, because it's not just dropping information on them and then leaving, right? They're getting to know more about me. So that's the second thing you want to think about, right? You really want to understand your audience psychographics, and you need to share more about yourself. Now, this third thing to really make your channel successful is creating a video workflow. And so what I mean by that is knowing what you are doing for every single video so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. A lot of us may write a checklist or have a notebook. I lose my notebooks all the time. So I got electronic on Asana. It's a project management workflow, and that allows me to duplicate a task every time I research my video content. And so I can ensure I don't miss any of those key steps like SEO research, tag research, thumbnail research, title research, scripting, B-roll, graphics. So all of that is in my checklist. I've already pre-populated once, and every time I have a new video idea, I just duplicate it over and over and over again so that I don't miss a step. I'm going to show you a little bit of my workflow here. I think I can screen share. Let me screen share real quick, and we are going to share. I think we're good. Okay, I'm going to double check. And if we are sharing my screen, you will see my workflow, and you'll get a peek into what my Asana looks like and what videos that I am coming up with in the near future. So I think it doesn't look like it's sharing.
Hey, Trina, just add it to the StreamYard really quick, and I'll help you out. Just click share screen on StreamYard, and I'll go ahead and add it. Also, hello, chat.
Okay, Andrew is helping me out, so we are going to click share screen. I think that should have worked.
I don't see it on the StreamYard end.
Okay, so I can just walk you through it real quick. So what it looked like, I break it down. I have 3 different sections in my workflow. So I have pre-record, and the steps in the pre-record are SEO research. I literally use TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer every single time for it. It looks like I may have frozen now on.
Don't worry, you're still good, Trina.
Okay, yes, and you do hear Andrew. That was Andrew popping in to help me kind of get my screen share. But like I said, new computer, so I'm not sure if I don't have the settings set up. So I apologize. But I do a lot of this over on my channel too. I can pop in a video later on in the comments, exactly one that walks through this process. But in the pre-record section, one thing that I do is SEO research, and I will use TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer every single time for this. I will go in there, I will try to figure out what is the best direction to take my video based on the keyword score. So for example, I'm just going to use this one. It's not something that I do, not my expertise, but I would pop in the TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer, how to start a blog. Now that's probably super competitive. I think when I did it, it was very competitive. I tested this out first. So I may then tweak that a little bit based on the tags that TubeBuddy recommends for that keyword to how to start a blog on Squarespace. That's a little bit more specific. And since it's the platform that I use, I can really better talk about how to start a blog on Squarespace as well. So that's how I start digging into the research. That's how I start coming up with my SEO research using TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer and really nailing down the direction I want to take that video. Now, I do this in batches as well because I want my content to all speak to itself. So it all fits together like a puzzle. I want people to come back video after video when I make this kind of series of content. So for this month in February on my channel, we're talking a lot about video content. So all of those videos need to fit together so that they want to come back for the next one and the next one and the next one. So I'll keep digging into TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer and know that that first topic is how to start a blog on Squarespace. All right. So knowing that audience, what would be the next thing that they would need to learn? How to format your blog on Squarespace. Maybe another one is how to create graphics for your blog on Squarespace. Another video idea may be what to write in your first blog on Squarespace. So I can tease these videos coming up. I can batch these videos and they all start to fit together and make this puzzle where somebody wants to come back week after week after week and get that video. Then when I'm done with the entire month, I have this powerful playlist where each video plays into itself and people end up Netflix binging your content. So when you're really thinking about your content plan and you're planning it out and you're thinking about it maybe a month at a time and you're batching all of your research at once, this is how you can really set your channel up for success, because you create these bingeable playlists every single month, and it makes sense for people to makes sense for people to come back and watch week after week. So I will use that, like I said, TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer to start digging in. Then their SEO tool allows you to start playing with the title. For me, title is the hardest thing to come up with. So if you struggle with titles, I feel you. I'm right there with you. And so what the SEO tool allows you to do is you can go in there and start playing with the title, tweaking the title, and see how well it does with the SEO score. You can start adding in your tags. You can start writing your description box content. Remember, this is all stuff I'm doing before I even film, because when I film, I gotta look like this. And so I can do all of this front end stuff first, when the kids are napping. First thing in the morning, I sometimes get up at 5 in the morning to get some work done before the kids get up. So I'm obviously not going to film at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I can research these videos. I can start coming up with the titles. I can start writing the description box content and saving it. TubeBuddy allows you to save it in the SEO tool as well. So when you upload that video, you can automatically add all that hard work that you've already done when you weren't video ready to super, super easily prep your video. So that's one part of batching that I do. And then you heard me mention I batch video content. So let me just run through kind of that pre-record phase that I do. So SEO research, right? Everything that I talked to you just now, coming up with the tags, coming up with the titles, putting it into the TubeBuddy SEO tool so that I can save it for later. I don't have to do that harder work later. I will decide on the title. I will decide on what thumbnail image that I want to take. So when I do film, I can get that, and I will write my script. I have been leaning away towards the word script and more towards the word video game plan, because what happens with scripts is people tend to get wrapped up in saying it word for word. And I don't think you need to write a script and read it word for word when you're recording, but you need to have a game plan. So A, you know how you're going to hook your audience with that first 5 to 10 seconds. B, you know what you're going to say, right? And C, or the third thing is, what is the goal of that video, right? We don't need 25 different goals in one video, like, comment, subscribe, sign up for my email list, email me, share on Instagram. That is too many things, and people get overwhelmed. Your viewer gets overwhelmed and they don't know what to do. So one thing that I do for every single one of my videos is know what is the core goal of this video. Is it to get people to subscribe? So the goal, the call to action is going to be to subscribe. Is it to get people to sign up to my video reframe summit that we're hosting at the end of the month? So I got to talk about that. That is what my call to action is going to be. So when I'm writing my video game plan, these are all the things that I'm putting in place and planning before I even record and turn on a camera. And so I do think scripting is important, but I don't think you need to be doing it word for word, but you do need to have a video game plan. Especially if you feel like video takes too long for you, it's going to make it a lot quicker to record your video and a lot quicker to edit. So again, that's all pre-record. Then in the recording phase, when I do have a quiet day like today and I can do my hair and makeup, I will record all the A-roll, so me talking. I will record B-roll. And again, this isn't a checklist for me to look at as I go through this entire process, any kind of screen recording. And then here's a little secret strategy that I do to be able to repurpose my videos to multiple platforms. I will shoot my entire YouTube video, and then I will shoot an alternate ending for Facebook so we can use that video for Facebook. I will also use an alternative ending for Instagram TV, so we can also use that video for Instagram TV as well. So that's one thing that we've been doing to just be able to reach more people. The goal for me isn't to necessarily grow my YouTube channel massively. That's great. And that's an awesome kind of thing that happens with the strategy we're doing. But I'm a business owner. I'm booking clients. I'm enrolling students into a program. So for me, it's really important to get my content out to more people on whatever platform that they want. And so that's why we repurpose our content on multiple platforms. Then I take my thumbnail photo, and that is all that I do on the days I have my hair and makeup done. Then we'll go into the editing phase. Obviously, editing the video, doing a Facebook version, an Instagram version, a YouTube version, and then doing Instagram story clips. So that's the third phase. And then the fourth phase is really promoting it. Scheduling it on YouTube, adding the tags, the description box, which are already in there thanks to TubeBuddy's SEO tool. We do a blog post, Pinterest images, video pins, an Instagram post. So we have this whole promotional strategy as well. And again, these are things that we can all batch. So that's kind of the process that we go through, and why it is so important to have this system, because the more you have this system, the less time you're wasting on things that aren't important, and the more time you have to spend on creating good quality content that can be seen by people, that people enjoy watching, and that gets people coming back for more of your content. That's really how you're going to have a successful channel. If you can create this consistent content that builds your community, that's good content. It doesn't matter how long you research those tags and that SEO. If your content's not good, your content doesn't get people to come back, it's kind of pointless. So I would love to go ahead and open up for Q&A here. While I grab a drink, I saw some questions come in. Andrew's popping one over here too. So I did see a question come in. I'm planning my first ever live stream, plus planning content to get ready. Somebody to join me on streams. Loving this stream, Trina. Oh, thank you, Eons of Comics. I did see a question real quick. Okay, Local Guides Vlog by Go Loco Podcast. Is there an optimum title length, i.e. do long titles perform worse than short titles? That's a great question. Obviously, YouTube only allows you to have 100 characters, I believe. Memorizing numbers is not a strong point, but I think it's 100 characters. And I would honestly test it. Think about your audience too. How is your audience going to respond to titles? Another thing you need to think about is longer titles. Will they get truncated, especially on mobile devices? Because so many people are watching YouTube and video content on mobile devices. Think about, is your video getting truncated? Is it missing the key points at the end of the title and people can't see it? So I do recommend, if you're going to test short and long titles, make sure the most important part, the part that's going to get people to click, is at the front of that title. So if it does get truncated at all, people still get the point of your title. Let's see. For longer titles, put some hook phrases in start. Yep, everyday tutor, that is great. Is there a wise to change my channel name with 186 subscribers? The only thing around changing your title name that I would think about is if it's going to help you get more search. When I started my channel, I literally, truth be told, created it without my full name so people couldn't find me that I know. So my job couldn't just Google me and find me. My family couldn't Google me and find me. I do wish I would have just started with my full name, because I've kind of built a personal brand now around my content. So I do think it's kind of up to you and what you prefer. I don't know if a channel name is really going to make or break your channel success, honestly. Let's see. My watch time keep going up and down. What should I do? I would look at your audience retention 100%. Study your audience retention. See, why are people watching longer on one videos and not? Is it the content? Is it the style that you're creating? But the more you can understand how people are watching your content, the more you're going to have better audience retention. So I literally another thing that I batch every single month. I will take a couple hours every single month to look at my audience retention for all the videos that I published in the past 4 weeks. I look at, okay, how did my hook do? Which ones did better than the other ones? Why did that one do better? Why did that one tank? How can I do better in the next videos? And so I'm really understanding how to keep people watching longer by studying my audience retention graphs. So when I shoot that next batch of videos, I'm making sure I'm doing the things that keep people watching longer. Okay, Maggie says, I used to post YouTube videos 3 years ago. I'm trying to go back at creating videos. Should I create another channel or keep the one I have? Maggie, if you haven't been posting any content recently, honestly, I would say just go with one that you already have. You could turn the videos to unlisted, private if you want. I come from the world of thought, don't make more work for you than you have to. If you do want to start from scratch, by all means, but that's kind of a preference for you. If you have a YouTube channel that everything is already set up, ready to go ahead and do that. Or you could totally start from scratch. I don't think it's going to matter either way. Since you haven't been posting for 3 years, I think you could get started on the channel that you already have. All right, here's a good one. The Blondie Mod. How can I change the times that I post without losing engagement? Great question. So I would try to start communicating it in as much places as possible. Make an announcement in your YouTube video. Make an announcement if you can on your YouTube community tab. Tell your audience anywhere else, social media, an email list. Let them know I'm changing the date and time if that's what you're doing. Make sure you mark your calendar. We're moving our published dates to Tuesdays at noon. This way we can engage with you more. Just communicate it in as many places as possible and let your audience know. I think that's going to be a great way to start to change the times that you post without losing engagement. Croatan Wolf, should you hide your subscriber count? I don't think so. I feel like if you are, you could be kind of losing your credibility. Why aren't you showing your subscribers? I have shown my subscribers even when I only had 100 subscribers. I think it just allows people to connect with you, relate to, especially if you're a growing channel. But obviously, if you don't want to show them, you don't have to. I do prefer showing them. My personal opinion. Oh, I saw a good one. Where would that go? Where did that go? Okay, Jones. How do you create similar content for a keyword you already rank for? So great. Go to TubeBuddy Keyword Explorer and whatever keyword that you're ranking for, pop it in the Keyword Explorer and look at what other video ideas they have. Look at what other tags are showing up to spin off on that. For example, one keyword that I rank well for is first video idea. So I would literally just go to the Keyword Explorer and type in first video idea and see what tags pop up. Let me just show, for example, first video idea. I would look at video searches. So under the related tab, I would look at video searches. So first video ideas for YouTube, first video ideas for YouTube gaming, first video ideas for TikTok. I would also go to web searches. So there, first video ideas for beauty gurus. I would go to video topics. What are good ideas for a first YouTube video? What is a good first YouTube video ideas? Then if you go to common video tags, other topics are video ideas for new YouTubers, YouTube video ideas 2021, popular video ideas. And so using the Keyword Explorer can really help you spiderweb a massive amount of content around one keyword that you're already doing really well for. All right. Fran, how quickly should I see results on a video so I know if it's a winner or a loser? So I would keep an eye on click-through rates and audience retention. I would look at what is that click-through rate? Is it better than your channel average? Is it less than your channel average? I like to go about 24 hours. And again, it depends on how much traffic you're getting to your videos. I like to go about 24 hours, give my video 24 hours before I decide if I want to change out a thumbnail or a title. 2 reasons. I want to get enough data. And second, I don't have the time to sit there and watch my video performance and tweak a title, tweak a thumbnail. I really want to get enough data to determine if this is something that I should change or not. So I would let it run, get some data, look at it 24 hours out, see if it's still growing, see if it's, going above the gray area there on your video. I think it's called like your average performance, or where your video typically performs. And then just change one thing. Don't go in there and totally wipe everything and start new. Maybe just change the thumbnail, or just change the title. Don't do both, because you won't know what wasn't actually working. If you change the title and the thumbnail and it all of a sudden shoots up, you don't know if it was the title or the thumbnail that did that. So I would pick one thing to change, get some data on it, see if it made your performance go up or down. If it didn't go up, change something else, right? Make small incremental changes and track how it's performing. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one. The Curious Coder. My retention drops severely in the first few seconds and then stays great. I don't know what the deal is with that. So one thing that I would look at is how well in your first couple of seconds does that tie in with your title and your thumbnail. Here's something that I noticed with some students of mine is with the title and thumbnail, people are intrigued and they clicked on it. But then the first couple seconds doesn't really tie into what they promised on that title and thumbnail. So the way to combat that for me, and the way I teach my students in Video Strategy Academy, is that I highly recommend they come up with their title and their thumbnail first, then write their video game plan. So you're thinking about telling a story, right? Your title and your thumbnail are starting that story, and your hook needs to continue that story to keep people watching, to pique their interest and make them want to keep watching, so they don't just click on it and they're like, what the heck does this have to do with the title and thumbnail? I clicked on the title and the thumbnail, and now it's not what I expected. So I would look at that. Make sure that your title and your thumbnail really connects with the first 5 seconds, and know that the hook is one of the hardest pieces of your video, and where you will tend to see the biggest drop-off rate. But that's one thing that you can do to really help improve that audience retention. Okay. How can you test a thumbnail? Vaughn45. Yeah, so TubeBuddy does have an A/B testing tool that we use all the time with thumbnails. And what we do when we A/B test a thumbnail is just a small thing. So we may have a thumbnail that has a blue background on it. So, okay, let me try to explain this. We may have a thumbnail, everything looks the same, but the background color behind my text is blue. And then we may do another one where the background color behind my text is just pink. So it's a small change, but we're looking at which one did better. We're looking at the A/B test. We may also do one where it's the exact same thumbnail. One has text, one doesn't. So we can see, okay, did the text make a difference with the click-through rate? That's one way to do it. You could also do this manually. So you could literally leave your thumbnail up for 24 hours, track what the click-through rate is. Remember, click-through rate isn't 100% determined on your thumbnail. It also is your title. They're not just tracking your thumbnail. Your click-through rate is your title and your thumbnail combined. So do keep that in mind. So just making small little tweaks. Again, you could track your click-through rate for 24 hours, switch something, and then track it for 24 hours and keep note manually as well. How can I get people to watch my videos and subscribe, City Gossip? Well, first, obviously, we need to create titles and thumbnails that people are going to click on it. We need to create, I like to call it the YouTube trifecta. These are the 3 things that I recommend all the time watching, especially if you're short on time, because getting into YouTube analytics can be super overwhelming, and there's a lot going on in there. So the 3 things, if you're short on time, you can only look at 3 things. I highly recommend looking at your click-through rate, how well your title and your thumbnail is getting people to click. We've talked a lot about that here. Your audience retention. Are you keeping people watching your videos, or are they only watching 30 seconds and then they leave? Why is that? Did your title and your thumbnail not relate to your content? Is your content not good? You really want to look at that. And then the 3rd thing I like to recommend my students and clients look at is end screen click-through rates. Because if we can keep people binging on YouTube, especially your content, not only are you going to get more views and more watch time on your content, YouTube will push that video that's getting end screen clicks to more places. Because if you can prove you put a video out there, people click on it, people will watch it, and people will click on another one. YouTube knows it's going to be a good video, right? It's going to send people down a YouTube rabbit hole. And so those are the 3 things that I really recommend my students and my clients focus on when we are building a YouTube strategy and we don't have a lot of time to look at things. Obviously, they sometimes hire me to do all that back end stuff for them. But if they are just needing to know the basics, those are the 3 things that I look at. Let's see. Everyday Tutor says, I think personally as a viewer, first impression is thumbnail, then we stop scrolling and read the title. I think so too. I think it's very important to have a scroll stopping thumbnail, but you also need to think when you're creating that thumbnail, what's going to stop the scroll for your audience? So for example, I have a totally different audience than other people that stream on here. So my audience is predominantly females and they prefer to stop scrolling for a more softer image, a more Pinterest or a more Instagram style thumbnail, because that's what they feel comfortable with. That's what they've been on for a long time. And a lot of my audience is just starting to use YouTube more regularly. And so my thumbnail has to stop the scroll for a female business owner. Whereas, other men that stream on this, they may need to style their thumbnail differently because that's for their target audience, right? So when you are creating that thumbnail, really think about your audience in mind as what is going to make them stop the scroll. That's why it's so important to think about your audience and know who you're creating content for. You can't create content for the masses because how are you going to create content that gets them to stop scrolling and click on it? And so I love that you point that out about thumbnails. Here's another great question coming in that Andrew sent over to me. How do you keep people engaged year-round for a Halloween channel? Interesting. That is very interesting. So one thing that I would think about is think about that audience. People that love Halloween, what type of content do they want? So this is coming to mind. I follow somebody on Instagram who I've met a few times. She loves Halloween. And so I know at Christmas time, she creates a Halloween Christmas tree. It's like a black Christmas tree with all these Halloween ornaments. So obviously that's still towards the end of the year, but I would start to think about how can you tie Halloween into normal day things. Also looking at Google Trends, see how you can tie that into Google Trends as well. I know we could take Halloween, you could probably start doing Halloween about, I'm looking at a calendar, early September, maybe even into August, you could start getting some Halloween. I would think, so, man, you really threw me for a loop here. Yeah, I would poll your audience too. If you have the community tab, poll your audience. Ask them what kind of content are they looking for? What type of content do they like year round when it comes to Halloween? And test different things out. Just put content out there around, pumpkin carving. Obviously, you're the expert around Halloween. Or, what does really well? Beauty channels do really well with transforming their face. So maybe even doing tutorials for dressing up for Halloween. Even though it's not Halloween, it still could grab people's attention. If the thumbnail is engaging and enticing, and you see this before and this after of like a werewolf makeup, that's one way that you could potentially keep people watching as well. Another question, should I propose my last video on the end screen or should I go on one based on the viewer's profile? You got it. What I do, part of my video game plan, right, is I come up with a title and thumbnail, I write my video game plan, and knowing what content I'm sharing, I'm going to recommend a video that makes sense. So for example, if you go watch one of my videos where I'm sharing about my workflow and I'm sharing exactly how I set it up, what it looks like, I want to think about, okay, if that audience is searching how to set up a YouTube workflow, what would they want to watch next? So then it may be how I script my content, how I create a video game plan. So in that video game plan, I will have a call to action that says, now that you know how to set up your workflow, let's make sure you're saying the right things on your video so people actually watch them. Watch the video that's on your screen right now where I tell you exactly how I write my video game plans. It makes it seamless. It makes it much easier for them to want to click on that next video on the end screen instead of just saying, watch this next video for XYZ. When you give them a clear reason why and you pitch it to them and you know what they're going to want to watch next, that's how you're really going to up your end screen click-throughs. Okay, we're at about 40 minutes here. Any more questions? And again, if you want to get better on video, we're bringing in all aspects of video creation to the summit, my Video Reframe Summit at the end of this month. 13 speakers, all from camera confidence to using video on social media to vertical video. Like I said, Rob is speaking about coming up with content ideas. Shelly Saves the Day is talking about vertical video. We also have people speaking about how to go live, how to host better live streams. I'm trying to pull all the different ideas, editing, video editing 101, media makeup. So video, how to do your makeup for video. And this is all free. We're having 4 speakers every day for 3 days. I'm looking at the calendar, starting February 23rd, 24th, 25th. And when you do get your free ticket to that summit, you also get access to a free Facebook group where we're giving away prizes every single day in the month of February. So we have a challenge every single day in that group, and that is how you can win a prize. Yesterday, we gave away 2 prizes. Today, we're giving away more prizes. And so Andrew, I think, linked that in the description box. It's trenalittle.com/video reframed, totally free, but a great way to start reframing the way you think about video content. So I did just want to throw that out there before I grabbed another question from you. So it looks like we had some success with shorts. What are your thoughts on mixing them in with your regular content idea? 100% check out Shelly from Shelly Saves the Day. I personally haven't had the time to play with shorts. Shelly's been my go-to to talk about shorts and ask her thoughts and her advice, but personally, I haven't played with shorts at all. Can't help you on that, but make sure you check out Shelly. It's a video. I'm just looking for questions. There you go, Andrew Pufflin. How many keywords in the content is good? So keywords, so you can add up to 500 characters for tags on your video. As far as keywords in your actual content, I don't necessarily think about that when I'm coming up with my video game plan. While it is important to make sure you're talking about the things that you say your video is about in your tags and your description box, that's how you should really be thinking about it. If your video is about, like this, setting up your YouTube channel for success, you want to make sure that's what you're talking about so it makes sense. You're saying keywords like setting up your YouTube channel for success, how to make your YouTube channel successful. You can see how it easily flowed into my content here, and I didn't script out that I was going to say that so many times in this video, but when you create a title, when you create content, knowing what the content's going to actually be about, then it makes it easier for you to pop in those keywords in more conversational tone so it doesn't sound weird when you're throwing in keywords just to throw in keywords. Like I said, the tags portion of a video, you can have about 500 characters. So that could be, you know, a bunch of short ones or long tail ones. That's totally up to you, but you can have a max of 500 characters. Ooh, here's a good one. Is it better to post shorter videos where people might be more likely to watch to the end, or longer videos where people might drop off, although watch time might be longer overall? That is so great. And that's one thing you have to think about, right? You ultimately want to be collecting watch time. I like to use the analogy of Mario Brothers when you go down that green tube and you're collecting all those gold coins and trying to figure out how can you grab as many gold coins as possible here on YouTube to make your channel look more valuable. So obviously, if you put out a 10-minute video and people are only watching, you know, 3 minutes of it, that's only 30% of that video. But if you put a 6-minute video out and people are watching 5 minutes of it, then you're getting that percentage. I should have made the percentage a little bit easier, but it's more than 30%, obviously. So that video looks a little bit more valuable. Now, let's say, I'm losing my train of thought here. Let's say, okay, 10-minute video, and people watch 6 minutes of it, but you put out an 8-minute video and people watch 7 minutes of it, right? 7 minutes is more valuable than the 6-minute one. So it's really just making sure, honestly, in my opinion, I don't even think about how long my video is going to be. I think about my title. I know what I want to share in that content, and that's what I talk about. I don't add fluff. I don't add extra stuff to make it longer. A lot of people come to me and ask me, Trina, does my video have to be 10 minutes? Is that the perfect length? There is no perfect length. I really, really believe that you need to create a video that promises on that title and thumbnail. It all comes back to that title and thumbnail and knowing what you are pitching to that person that clicks on that video and making sure you perform on that title and that thumbnail. That's what I would recommend. Yes, you've got to balance the watch time with the audience retention. Are they getting to the end to potentially click on another video? But your video has just got to be packed with value if you want to have a successful YouTube channel. How best can the discussion tab be used? Oh, this is a good one. We're trying to figure this one out too. I'm a planner, obviously, and we plan all of our Instagram content about a month in advance. We plan all of our YouTube content. We plan all of our Facebook content. I think the best way to use it is to get engagement. I love posting polls. I love asking for feedback. Again, we haven't been as consistent on the discussion tab. One, there's not a good way to schedule it right now for us that we have found a way to make it possible. But getting their thoughts with polls. Polls always do well for me. Sharing behind the scenes, maybe mentioning your favorite ice cream and asking them what your ice cream. I would think about it personally, similar to the way you would use Instagram as a way to connect with people, right? People can find your videos, but that discussion tab is just great for people to have a discussion with you, connect with you on a deeper level. So that's how I would really use that. It's just a way to let people into your life a little bit more. Does TubeBuddy really work? 1,000,000%. What I really value with the TubeBuddy tool is it saves me so much time. Like I said, I have a lot going on, a 4 and a 5-year-old, multiple clients, over 150 students in my program. So my time is really minimal. And so what I love with TubeBuddy is, like I said, the keyword explorer. It cuts my research time in half. Then I can add all of that research into the SEO tool. And then testing thumbnails, which is so good, which I think leads into what did you know TubeBuddy? How did you know TubeBuddy was wait for you? What sold you? It was the A/B testing on the thumbnails, 1,000,000%. Thumbnails are so critical on YouTube. We talked about it already here today. Thumbnails is what stops the scroll. And if you don't really know which one of your thumbnails is the best version, you're not going to be able to stop the scroll, right? So honestly, the A/B testing of the thumbnails is definitely what sold me. All the other stuff is amazing as well. Let's say there wasn't A/B testing, I still love the SEO tool where I can put in all my research and have it saved. So when I do upload my YouTube video, it's already saved. All the hard work's done for me. So those two things definitely have sold me and why I probably use TubeBuddy at least once a day, if not more. Like I said, when we're managing clients' channels, we're doing research for them as well. So yeah, that's what sold me for TubeBuddy. All right, well, we are at about 50 minutes. Any last minute questions? I'm gonna take one more, starting to get a little throat scratch here. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so how A/B testing works is you can put two thumbnails up against each other. And what the A/B test tool does is it will run one thumbnail for 24 hours, and then it will run the other thumbnail for 24 hours. And then you can see how they performed against each other. And they keep running back to back to back like that. Thumbnail one runs for 24 hours, then the next 24 hours, thumbnail 2 runs, and then the next 24 hours, thumbnail 1, then the next 24 hours, thumbnail 2. What TubeBuddy does is compile all that data until it's statistically significant to prove that one thumbnail will work over the other one, and it will say thumbnail A is statistically significant to do better than thumbnail 2, or vice versa. And so it's collecting all that data, click-through rate, watch time, view duration, all of that kind of information to really make sure you're picking the best thumbnails to help you get those best click-through rates. So that's kind of how the TubeBuddy A/B testing actually works. Okay. Well, that is going to wrap it up for me today. Thank you all so much for being here. 50 minutes jam-packed. Like I said, I talk a lot more about content creation and setting up your workflow over on my channel if you want to check it out. I'm sure Andrew has it linked below, but it goes into more detail, and so you can actually see that Asana workflow that I do have and how I set that up. There's also a video over there on how we set up our social media content plan as well. So if you want to check that out, get more detailed, grab a notebook, take some notes if you want to. That's where you're going to want to check that out. And thank you all so much for being here today. And I will catch you all the next time I stream. So thank you, everybody. And